Welcome back, beautiful, beloved souls. This commentary is called Flat Earth, Space Lies, or Something Else. My channeling versus reality. The tension. There's a growing idea online right now that we're not living on a spinning spear, but inside something contained. A dome, water above it, a barrier that no one can cross. And I'll be honest, I went down that rabbit hole. Videos, theories, slowed down rocket launches, Operation Fishbowl. Operation Fishbowl? It sounds, in the name, all of it. So I did what I always do. I sat down and I channeled. And what came through was the complete opposite of what I expected. And I have shared this, but let's go through it. Part 1, my channeling result. What I received was very clear. We are not under a dome. We are on a spear. And immediately, I didn't trust it. Not because it felt wrong, but because it felt too clean, too definitive. And that's the thing with channeling. Just because something comes through clearly doesn't make it objectively true. So instead of believing it, I decided to test it. Part 2 is the dome theory. Let's actually look at the dome idea properly. The claim is that there is a solid structure above Earth. Water exists beyond it. Space, as we're told, doesn't exist. Some people point to things like Operation Fishbowl, rocket footage that looks strange, and unusual visual effects during launches. Now, I understand why this is compelling, because visually, some of those explosions do look like something hitting a surface, like a ripple in water. But here's where physics steps in. At high altitude, the atmosphere is extremely thin. Explosions expand in near spherical patterns, so patterns that look like spears. Plasma effects create glowing shells. So, what looks like a boundary is actually how energy behaves in low-density environments. Part 3, the rocket and something feels off. Then there's the rocket argument. People say the footage glitches, the crew isn't visible, something looks staged. And I get that, because when you watch a launch, it almost feels unreal. But here's the grounded layer. The Space Launch System produces extreme heat, massive thrust, real-time telemetry tracked globally. And the strange visuals, They often come down to camera compression, signal interference, perspective distortion. Space footage doesn't behave like everyday footage. It's like watching reality through a warped lens. Part 4, the psychology of the dome. Now, here's where it gets deeper. Why does the dome idea resonate so strongly? Because it taps into something very human. The feeling of being contained, the idea of hidden truth, the suspicion that something is being kept from us. It gives structure to uncertainty. It turns the unknown into something tangible, a ceiling, a boundary, a limit. But reality doesn't always give us that kind of neat edge. Part 5, channeling versus reality. So let's come back to my channeling. It said, we live on a sphere. But here's my position, and I want to be very clear. Channeling is not fact. Even under strict conditions, remote viewing sits around 65% accuracy. So what is channeling? Less controlled, more interpretive, and filtered through memory, belief, education, exposure, and trauma. So, even if something feels real, it can still be symbolic, archetypal, or simply the brain trying to make sense of complexity. Part 6, the human filter. This applies to everything, not just aliens, but reality itself. We don't see the universe directly. We interpret it. So whether it's a dome, a sphere, or something else entirely, what we're actually experiencing is our brain's best model of reality, not necessarily reality itself. In closing, grounded curiosity. So here is where I land on this. I channeled. It said sphere. But I'm not asking you to believe that. In fact, don't believe me. Question everything. The dome? NASA. Not a straight answer. Channeling? All of it. Because the truth, if there is one, doesn't need blind belief. It can handle being questioned. Maybe the real question isn't what's above us, but how much of what we see is shaped by what we expect to find. Thank you for the view. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you on the weekend. Drop a comment below. And just before I go, I just want to share something else with you. this, and I believe it is a simulation. It is much easier to have a computation, so to compute a sphere, than it is flat Earth. And I also want to talk about how Artemis 2 took a photo of Earth, and I think it was over Africa, and there was clouds over Africa, and they took one 12 hours later, and it was still the same. Well, you have to take physics into account. Artemis, if it is going through space, is not stationary. We will talk about this in another, I'll upload another video about the physics about it, okay? But also, what we have forgotten is that if the Earth is a ball or sphere, imagine my hand, my fist, is Earth. We are on, so this is the land, and we are on Earth like this. So when we're rotating around, we are actually upside down, but our eyes trick us, and they turn it to think that space is up there, when in actual fact, space is down there. All right, let me know in the comments, please. Please be respectful. I will answer all the comments. What do you think Earth is? And you know, the truth is, you and I, we can't prove what it is because we can't go up there. We have to take the word of NASA and what we see through telescopes. All right. Please be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Love, light, and blessings. Bye.